All right, guys. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I think we spent maybe a little too much time talking about Tom Cruise. So we gotta zip through some of this stuff, right? So at the Disney investors meeting last Thursday, they announced a whole ton of projects. And we're just going to start rattling off some of these projects. The first one that they announced in the live action division, we're all just going to be talking about the live action stuff today, is a sequel to Enchanted starring Amy Adams called Disenchanted, also starring Amy Adams. The original Enchanted movie was so charming. It was so sweet. It took the whole idea of like the classic Disney princess and it kind of turned the genre on its head a little bit. It made it fun. It was silly. It knew the tropes. It knew exactly what it was, and it played into those things very, very well. Very recently, currently streaming on Disney Plus, is the movie Godmothered. It kind of takes this same kind of premise of, hey, here's an up-and-coming fairy godmother in training, and oh no, the fairy godmother division is going to be shut down if they don't find one more person to be the godmother for and change their life and help them find their happily ever after, right? So here's Jillian Bell, and she goes off on this whole adventure trying to find that with Ilsa Fisher, blah, 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 whatever, it doesn't matter. Trying to help her find her happily ever after. And it has that same kind of idea of here's a fish out of water. Here's a fairy godmother out of her element, just like Amy Adams. Here's a fairy tale princess out of her element in New York City, trying to find her prince, and in Godmothered, trying to find the one person to help them create their happily ever after. So now, in the same vein, they're doing Disenchanted. We don't know many details about Disenchanted. Let's jump into the article from Deadline here for a second. Yeah, so Bailey, who was doing the presentation at the Disney investors meeting last Thursday, Bailey didn't provide details about the project during his presentation at the Disney Investor Day. Adam Shankman is attached to the direct. No word on who is penning the songs. Of course, like the first movie had original music from Alan Menken, and it got nominated for 3 different Academy Awards. But yeah, this is going to be a sequel. Is this a film or a series? Film. Looks to be a film. Yeah. Coming out on Disney Plus. No date as to when the release will be. Who else is in the movie? We just know that Amy Adams is attached. We have a director. And it's a sequel called Disenchanted. Dom, did you enjoy the first Enchanted movie? Or did you see it, first of all? What are your thoughts?
I did, and I watched it because of Patrick Dempsey, and because I had a huge crush on him, and and this is when I was a huge Grey's Anatomy fan, so anything that he was part of, I watched, and so when I saw him in the movie, I was like, so I loved the movie, but I also saw more of Amy Adams because this is my first time actually seeing her in this film, and I said, okay, like I just like the singing. I like there was a scene in the movie that's so funny to me when she's singing in the New York apartment and like the roaches come up in the sink, like, or whatever it was.
Yep. Oh, so gross. It was so gross. But again, like it plays to the strengths of knowing what those tropes are.
Right.
Fairy tale, woodland creatures, come help me clean this house.
And nobody would think of a fairy tale in New York City like
Gross.
that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's funny to me. But I thought that it's a movie that I will never forget, and I'm happy that they're doing like a sequel to this, and so it's very interesting to me.
So let's put on our speculation hats for a second. Enchanted, the story of an unassuming, maybe very much an assuming fairy tale princess, but in an unassuming environment, having to find her Prince Charming, right?
Right.
And overcome the evil queen who's trying to, I don't know, make her life terrible or whatever.
Right.
Disenchanted. It evokes thoughts of being knocked off the pedestal,
Right.
My knee-jerk reaction is I think of Ocean's 12. Did you see the Ocean's movies? Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. So
Yes.
Ocean's 11 was all about the gang getting the money.
Yes.
Ocean's 12 was all about the gang losing the money. And then Ocean's 13 was all about kind of like keeping the status quo and letting everybody know, like, you're not, Al Pacino, you're not better than anyone else. You need to be taught a lesson, right? So it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
about like teaching a learning lesson. So with like Ocean's 12 losing the money, that's kind of where my knee-jerk reaction, my thoughts of like disenchanted, lie and fall. Just these thoughts and ideas of being pushed off the pedestal. What do you think a possible storyline, as your window continually shrinks and shrinks and shrinks?
Right.
What do you think a possible storyline for Disenchanted might include?
I'm thinking maybe an evil queen, or maybe her sister comes out of nowhere. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like some type of rival is gonna come out and try to overthrow her or something, and or maybe she got a divorce.
Ooh, timely. Yeah.
I'm thinking that. I'm just like, I'm thinking all these things. I'm like,
Well, because
what?
the first movie, I think that actually could be a very strong contender. The first film was all about her like getting her happily ever after and whatever. But
Right.
now it's what 13 years, 14 years later. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe
And
we'll
things
get
could
to see the
change.
story of her falling out of love with Patrick Dempsey. And
Right.
maybe what she thought was going to be her happily ever after isn't what maybe your idea of what happily ever after should look like is not what you need.
Right. So I think that they're going to try to find another alternative to a happy ending, that you're not, like, because in every single Disney movie has been like a happily ever after ending, right? But
Yep.
I think what they want to do in Disenchanted is give you the reality of what another type of happy ending. That's what I think.
Again, I don't want to have you seen the movie Godmothered that's currently on Disney Plus?
I didn't, but I would like to check it out.
I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I will say it ends in a way that you don't expect, that challenges the
Okay.
status quo. And I like that. It's such a corny movie. It's such a cheesy movie. It's full of cheese. And if you like cheddar, this one's for you. Um, but it does have that element of challenging the movie Noelle with Anna Kendrick. Did you see Noelle at all? It's a Christmas movie. It's about Santa Claus's daughter. Santa Claus dies, and now the Santa Claus mantle gets passed on to the son. I'm gonna ruin the ending for anyone for Noelle. So if you don't want to know how Noelle ends,
Mute.
mute right now, and I will let you know like this to unmute. But Noelle ends with Anna Kendrick having this realization, or rather, everyone else around her having this realization that Anna Kendrick loves Christmas more than any of us here. She's the one that knows all the intricacies, all the details, and the rules and the laws of how Santa Claus works. And so she becomes the next Santa Claus. And it challenges this idea of like, just because you aren't male doesn't mean that you can't be Santa Claus, right? And I love that idea. I love that message of challenging the status quo. And I feel like that's kind of a theme. It's kind of a thing that Disney has been doing right now. And they are continuing to do. They're branching out their storytelling. They're doing very, very different things with characters and storylines that have never been told before, or at least have never been told in this way before. So I think that's one of the things that we can look forward to with Disenchantment, is something familiar but with a very different message behind it.
Absolutely. I think that's the message that they're trying to convey. Is and I think they're doing a good job. I hope, and I can't wait to see.
Me too. Me too. Question is for you guys. What do you think of Disenchanted? Are you looking forward to it? What do you think the story could be? What kind of a moral or idea do you think is going to be behind it? Jump on down to the comment. Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Scrooge McDuck would want you to do. DuckTales, woo!